is A to Z with Mark Zinno, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, and it starts now.
Good afternoon. Welcome to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, where today I ask, who do you want to be? Welcome in. We are live here on this Wednesday afternoon, and we've got a lot to take care of here as we get one day closer to another Falcons football game. Braves wrapping up their West Coast swing here. They'll play an afternoon game today and then come back home. And, of course, we have some live golf news to get to, my favorite subject of all things. Appreciate you guys starting your day with A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On ATL. Of course, I'm at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno. Don't forget to subscribe to that YouTube channel. Give that thumbs up to all the great content there. All right, let's start with Georgia because they're going to get their first taste of an SEC opponent coming up on Saturday. And I don't want to say a real opponent because guess what? My guess is Oregon is a lot more real than South Carolina is, but still, you know, a lot of people are going to quickly overlook and dismiss Oregon because Georgia pasted them 49-3. But what's interesting, what has happened with Georgia, for a team last year that had so much prowess defensively and had one of the best defenses in college football history last year, through the first two games, their offense is really what has stood out. Now, again, I know that they've only given up 3 total points on the season and have yet to give up a touchdown on defense. But still, what is different, what stands out is this offense. And what stands out, because if I would have told you at the beginning of the year that Georgia, heading into the game against South Carolina, would have the second best passing attack in the nation, behind Texas Tech, averaging 395 yards per game through the air, you would have told me, I don't believe it. Not with this quarterback. And you would have been right. I think that's fair. I think it's totally okay to have doubted Stetson Bennett and his ability to be that type of passer because we've never seen it before. And we didn't see it last year. We saw him be good. We saw him be consistent. We saw him make plays when he had to. But the difference was he was never called on to carry the offense. He carried them through the Georgia game. He didn't really have to do much against Samford. Nobody did. But still, that's not the point. Bennett's completing 75% of his passes on the year. His quarterback rating is through the roof. Make of that what you will, if it matters to you or not. But this is an offense right now that is predicated on throwing the football. Here's the interesting part. They're taking on a South Carolina team this week that has been gashed on the ground through two games so far. They have really been run all over, particularly last week against Arkansas. And since the Gamecocks have given up 247 rushing yards per game through the first two games, that would sort of lead you to believe that Georgia on Saturday will take that approach with Kenny McIntosh and Kendall Milton. I think that would make a lot of sense. I'm not sure that's exactly what Kirby Smart and Jeff Monken are going to do. I think that this Georgia offense will be one of the most balanced Georgia offenses you will see in modern memory. I genuinely believe that there is a desire now, and we'll see how they start this game because this will be very, very telling. But there is a genuine desire to sort of transition to the more modern offense, the more of what we've seen the rest of college football develop to. They don't have to be an air raid like, Texas Tech and Mississippi State and everything else. They don't need to do that. But I think they're going to be a much more competent passing team. Why? I'll tell you in a second. First, a word, from my friends at BetOnline.net, your number one online source for odds, lines, and games. It's the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find your favorite sports and events right there at BetOnline.net. They have news and reviews of every league, including the NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and golf. Guys, I was on betonline.net yesterday. Just a wealth of information out there if you're somebody who likes to gamble, or you like somebody who likes that information that you need to figure out who's going to win a certain game, BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports wagering information, from live in-game betting, scores, podcasts. They've got you covered on all of it. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action that is happening today. BetOnline, where the game starts. Why is Georgia going to transition to this new offense? Because they know it's going to win more national titles. It's that simple. And I understand that Georgia will still have a running game. They won't abandon it. But maybe the concept of RBU is going to fall by the wayside a little bit due to necessity more than lack of talent or recruiting or scheme or whatever. Maybe it just feels like Georgia is starting to evolve with the times, and good coaches do. And Kirby Smart understands that. Now, they're going to head into Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday, a place that has often been a thorn in the side of the Bulldogs over the years. Georgia actually lost to South Carolina. That game was in Athens, so it was an overtime game, 20-17. Other than that, in the past, three of the previous four meetings, Georgia has been in the 40s, and they haven't even allowed 20. So they've won each of those games by 20-plus points, including 2 games in Columbia, and they have basically pasted that team. This game should take a similar form to that. However, Shane Beamer and their quarterback now, Spencer Rattler, the former Oklahoma quarterback, right? Part 2, I think, after Caleb. Anyway, they don't quit. That team's going to play for full 60 minutes. They're going to keep coming. But I am so curious to see how Georgia starts this game, whether they lean into the run like we would expect them to do and control the game and control the tempo as much as they can, or they just do what they did to Oregon. Because there's every reason for them to sit there and go, Oregon's better than South Carolina. They have more talent than South Carolina. They have one of the best defensive players in the country on defense, and South Carolina does not. And we scored touchdowns on our first 7 offensive drives. What do we need to do different? The answer? Nothing. Nothing. I mean, the point simply is this, is that even the most ardent Stetson Bennett detractors, hello, me right here, I'm one of those guys. Even one of those should know and understand that things have changed. And while I don't think Stetson Bennett is going to win the Heisman, I don't even think he's going to be in the conversation. What I do think is genuinely this passing attack could become something different than what we've ever seen before. And I don't think for one second Kirby Smart's going to let up this weekend. I think he still wants to send a message to everybody about how good this team is and about how much they are the team to beat in college football. They've got the number 1 ranking now. It'll be theirs for the rest of the year as long as they don't lose a game. I think that means something to Kirby. I think Kirby wanting to finish the season number 1 overall and go to the playoffs and win a national title, those are kind of the things that they would deem, a perfect season. And that stuff is kind of important to Kirby. All right, coming up next, an interesting move by Brian Snitker last night as the Braves avoid their first 4-game losing streak of the season. They'll close out the West Coast trip coming up today. As well, how will the Falcons approach the Los Angeles Rams? That's coming up next right here on A to Z on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts, search Locked On Sports Atlanta. Be right back.